Tonight we'll be going over Luna's testimony, ages 15 to 23. Welcome, you guys. It's Nikki here again.
And Luna.
And this is part 3 of Luna's testimony. Hopefully you've been watching along. If you haven't, I suggest you go watch part 1 and part 2 before you do part 3. Or do what you want. So the first, we're going to start off at age 15. So age 15, what were you doing? Do you know what though? You have to finish 14 about the angel story. And then we'll move on to what you're doing at 15.
I left it off at a cliffhanger.
Yes.
On part 2. And so if you want to know the whole story, you need to go and watch it. Because I'm not repeating that. This video is going to be long enough.
All of them been long enough.
Yeah.
You've been through a lot, I think.
And this is just based off the occult.
Jesus saves.
Jesus really does. So, continuing from where I left off, I was unable to move. And this was different. This wasn't a demon inside of me making me not move. It was the opposite, because a demon was actually, I was in a trance, and I had no control over my body, and I was in the woods, and I did a spell in this particular area in the woods, and so I was being brought back to it, and this is like from really getting into practicing witchcraft, I would say about my 13th time walking into this particular trail to where I performed this
in the woods
spell.
you used to go to?
Yes.
Okay.
And this wasn't something willfully. This is something that I had no control over. I had no control over my body. And so, I had no control over my body. And, I was forced to stop. Now, the difference between I know when I'm being touched by a demon and something of light. I'm gonna say light. Of light, not of darkness. Being touched by demons, which I have before, it burns. And it burns like you're in hell type of burn, and it lingers. It doesn't just go away. Like you get it doesn't compare to a burn you get here on earth, like you burned yourself on the stove or in the fire, okay? It doesn't compare to what this kind of burn is. It's deep to its core, and it literally, it tries to burn you from the inside out type of feeling. And it's not good, and it's very painful. Well, as for the touch of light, I was engulfed by this presence. And after the fact, I prayed over it, and it was an angel holding on to me, engulfing me, won't let me move forward. As basically fighting for me because I had no control over my body. And I almost gave in to the demon. And that's probably would have been one of my suicidal attempts, because the world doesn't get the supernatural spiritual warfare going on. So as for that, when that happened, God and I were having an intense conversation, mind to mind, okay? I couldn't even talk, I couldn't move, all I could do was stand there, and I could felt
Can I say something?
Yes.
Angels in the Bible, I don't have it on top of my head, but I'll post it in the video. Angels do protect the saints. So, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And so that's what was happening, and I was like, I really, really didn't want to, go back home. I was honestly done. I was like, I don't even care anymore. And God was telling me, you need to wait, and you need to go back there. He didn't say home. He said, go back there. It will be okay. You just wait. And I'm like, I don't want to wait. I want to...
Sounds like you now.
Yeah. I'm hard-headed. And I'm like, I don't want to wait. I want to go home to you. funny now knowing I can't go home to God if I don't know His Son. That's the only way to Him.
Only through God is through the Son, the Lamb.
So, between that interaction, I felt comfort and safe, but I was also like, why can't I move? And He didn't answer that. He just said, go back to that house. Go back. And I said, I don't want to. And finally I gave in. I gave in. And I said, okay. And I literally was able to say, okay. I was finally able to say, okay. And that was me agreeing, I will go back. And that demonic trance was off of me. The angel was still there. I felt its presence, but it wasn't engulfing me, in a sense. And I said, okay, and I kept my word, and I went back to the house. And it was amazing. Okay, I've never felt that much, like, the light. It's like almost describing it as to love. Like, it's hard to explain because it's not of this world.
Yeah.
It's a much higher experience. So,
yeah.
that is
Well,
what
angels
I
do
experienced.
protect the saints. I'll put that scripture up. So yeah, we're gonna move on to ages 15 to 23. And I remember you telling me that around this time you started getting more engulfed into it. More engulfed. You were more involved. You were more in it. You were like practicing, like seriously practicing, and you had started getting into like pendants and things like that. So why don't you tell us a little about that?
Okay.
Pendants,
So,
rocks, stuff.
I started really studying the religion at this point and witchcraft. And as I was getting more into it, I was not only doing the Wicca religion and witchcraft, I was also starting to blend in with the New Age stuff, which goes hand in hand. Everything, the New Age and all the witchcraft, it's all the occult. So it goes hand in hand. And so I started, what started from a collection of crystals because I thought they were beautiful turned into me eventually using them as tools for witchcraft. I started collecting pendants, I started collecting stones, etc. And then, I started using them. And as I was, using them, the experiences of, I would say, it really helped develop the New Age calls it this way, even with psychic abilities, etc., etc. And so the energy works, etc. And
You were advancing.
Yes, pretty quickly too.
Yeah.
Very quickly. And I started getting in deeper and deeper, not thinking, like, why am I doing this still? But I was. Even after that experience of being, like, engulfed by it.
You were in a battle. It makes sense.
Yeah.
Back and forth, back and forth. You were deep in. It wasn't like you just started and that was it. You were deep in. So it's a battle. So it does make sense that you would go back and forth.
So, like, around age 15, getting more involved, I started to teach my girlfriend. So, other things that go on in my life, I was very, lost my identity, etc. And I also had same-sex attraction along with me, with the abuse following. I decided that I was bisexual. And it started going towards more gay up until a certain point, but I taught my girlfriend, and so we started doing witchcraft together. A little bit more of the New Age type of stuff. I did tarot cards. We did a lot of working on our telekinesis abilities, etc. It's all part of it, and along with pendants, crystals.
Part of not having your identity set in Christ. No identity.
No identity whatsoever.
So you were what the world told you you were. What was
I guess popular to them, right? And so I was doing a lot of palm readings and telling people's futures when I shouldn't have, and describing what happened in their past, and a lot more communicating through different methods of, besides the Ouija board. And it was just really, really getting more deep into it, and it just wasn't good. It just wasn't good.
Yeah. And then I know that's like... Anyways, we'll get back on that. And you were talking about crystals and stones. I from my research, because to help my sister, you'll learn more about this, and I did a lot of research. And crystals and stones they use for like energy and healings, or whatever they call that. People believe in them that does that, But here's the thing about stones and crystals and things like that. They're not bad. Jesus made those beautiful stones, beautiful rocks. It's the intent behind it and what the person is doing. Like I love crystals and rocks just as like decorations in the garden, things like that. Maybe in a ring, because where is it? It's in Revelations 21:11. This thing, God has made these beautiful objects and items. In Revelations 21:11, it talks about how, I'll put it up on the screen too, because I'm paraphrasing. I'm trying to do it from memory. It talks about jasper and gold and decorated with precious stones. So those items are not bad. They're made from God. Everything is made from God. Now it's not a problem because we have it. Change the word. The thing is that we have free will. I think this is a lot of things that people lose. And it's the reason why a lot of people get upset with God when something happens to them. And they wonder, well, why did God let it happen to me? But they don't ask themselves, how did I put myself in a situation? What is the consequence? What did I do? And this is the consequence. We have free will. So inherently, these things are very beautiful because God made them. God made everything. He made the stones, the pendants, all that stuff. But our free will, we either choose to do evil with it, or we choose to just admire it, like we admire a beautiful red bird or something like, But anyways, I'm babbling. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. And we just need to remember that it goes against... God warns against these kind of practices. How are you feeling around this time? Outside of the occult, your everyday life, 15 to 17, how are you feeling? What was going on? How are you feeling?
A lot worse. With my birth dad, putting me down, basically disowning me. From that point on, having just no one to go to even further. I was losing friends as I was getting deeper into the occult. I just really had only my girlfriend at the time up until I was 17, and I broke it off. But I still was living that double life online.